Gaming Today presents Cash Considerations.
Welcome to the Cash Considerations podcast. Today is Tuesday, February 11th, and it is Valentine's week. That doesn't mean much. Let's just keep that real. It's Valentine's week, but everybody's got their own Valentine, and we're not really worried about that. What we're worried about today is bringing another show to you guys. Thank you again for listening. In studio today, we have Alan Berg. What's up, AB?
What's up, man? Here we are again.
That's it. And who is not here today, Motoi Pearson. Motoi is stuck at work, and he's on call, so we're going to see if he can tap in and offer his takes. And if he can't, we'll just trudge on without him. We've got Reynolds here behind the mic, producing. His mic is live. He's hot today, so we're going to tap into his expertise as well. Twitter handles, for those of you that don't know them, Alan is at %Berg. Mo is at HeDeeStakes. Reynolds is at I am Reynolds 2305. And I am Dave Sharapan at SportsBK Consig, Sportsbook Consigliere. And the show is at GT Cash Consider. So please follow the show, share the show, rate the show, even review the show. We're going to have to come up with some contest or something for leaving reviews or something. But we appreciate you guys listening. Format of the show, for new listeners, we sometimes have a guest, sometimes we don't. Today we're not going to have a guest. It's post-Super Bowl. It's February. It's that time of year that people take vacations. People are just, doing their thing. So we're doing our thing here today, just us, which is fine. We're going to get through it. We got some stuff to talk about. We're going to hit the XFL.
Yes, sir.
We're going to hit UFC 247, basically the Jones-Reyes fight. And you were there, or, you obviously were watching it and tweeting and stuff. And you guys are the boxing/MMA experts. So I'm going to use that, tap on that a little bit to get some insight. We're going to mention the NBA. It's All-Star break week for the NBA. Usually leads to some interesting outcomes right before the break, but we'll kind of take a quick look at where teams are, where they're going, where they might be headed. Then we might not touch on NCAA basketball. I don't know. We'll see where Mo's at with that.
I want to see these yes/no odds on that one.
We're making prices. Then we'll take a minute and we'll get out of here. So that's the format of the show today. Before we start, I just want to mention the Gaming Today subscription is now $6.95 a month. You get award-winning content analysis, stats, picks, casino industry news, and more. Don Best feed with real-time lines and scores from 6 Vegas sportsbooks, links to casino deals and sportsbook app signups. You even get the Gaming Today newspaper in digital form. Just go to gamingtoday.com/register. All right, that stuff is out of the way. Let's get to this XFL. I don't know, man. I'll just table it with this. I wrote good, bad, or indifferent. From a wagering standpoint, I compared it to a good college basketball game type handle for us. I mean, it wasn't great. We put the lines up late. It's really hard to make the lines. You guys are putting them up early. You got next week's games up already, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we were first to market with week 1 spreads, and then we weren't on the other two, totals and money lines. We waited on those a little bit. It seemed everybody was a little hesitant to make totals, and then to Motoi's group's credit, Circa put up the totals.
Yep,
real low, and then they flew up. And I think Matt Metcalf just wanted to basically take bets and see where the market was going to take them. And, they didn't waste any time. They moved quickly and probably ended up making some good money. I would say. I mean, you had the two Sunday games went under, the two Saturday games went over. Depending on, I think one of the games you might have caught a bad beat depending on the total. I think that one
50,
was really close, right?
51, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, for me, I would say if I had to give you that out of that group that you just said, I think it was good. Like, I don't think the players are necessarily good, but I think the product is good. I think their innovations that they had, certain arenas, like the DC arena is great. Like, it's small enough
right,
that it felt like, there was an energy in that building. Tim Murray pointed that out on Twitter, which I thought was really good. I think certain ones are going to do better than others, but I think that's sports,
Right. It's such a big thing to, not overcome, but you're jumping into the NFL space. I mean, it's football. So that's the comparison, and it's not a fair comparison, I don't think.
Yeah, no, it's meant to be that they want to be the minor league of the NFL. And
right.
That's the difference between the first incarnation of the XFL when they wanted to act like they could be in the same space, and now they realize, like, no, we need to be a niche that, gives these other guys more playing time, all these different things to help them get back to the NFL. And I think that model will work. It just needs to keep up the ratings and the innovation and all the TV coverage. And I don't know, I enjoyed it. And we had handle on it that was, I think the Vipers Guardians game was our highest handle if you threw out a house player who
on
just
Sunday morning,
who was just
really?
randomly playing. Yeah.
Wow.
What was there was one college hoops game? What was the biggest college hoops game on Sunday?
Butler played. That wasn't the day
of the Carolina game, right?
No, that was Saturday.
Yeah, so it was tied with the best or the most handled college basketball game for us. So so there's definitely betting interest. I just think that when it goes up against the bigger events, it's not gonna ever do that. Like, it couldn't do NBA handle as an example.
No.
Yeah.
I think, from a viewing standpoint, there's a lot of cool things going on, like the interviews right away. That's awesome.
Yeah.
The transparency of it all, hearing the plays, although not understanding the plays, but you hear the calls, so you know what's going on. And so, for the 1%, 2%, that's amazing, because you don't have anyone explaining what all those words mean and how the play calls go, but you can and learn. I like the kickoffs, the way that's going to go. You can kind of see. I didn't realize, how many kickoffs were returned in the NFL all season?
Ugh, it's not a good number.
7.
What?
7. It's the only time. There were 7 touchdowns on kickoffs in the NFL.
7 touchdowns. Okay,
7 touchdowns.
I was like, wait,
no, that's it. 7.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. All season. So changing that, from the glorified touchback.
I think you're going to get less holding calls too, because you don't have time to hold.
Right.
You just got to go hit the guy
and
hope that good things happen.
Yeah.
So I like the kickoff rule. I love the fact there's no extra points. You got to actually.
That's true.
Crack me up how many coaches don't realize you should go for 2 every time, but that's a whole nother discussion. I'm interested, man. Like, I can't wait for it next week. When I talked to Purdom about the handle and things like that, I said one of the things that hurts it a little bit is that there's only 2 games. It's not like a full slate of NFL where you can parlay 7 things together and have action on everything. You gotta bet, you get one at a time. So, like, little things like that kind of hurt it for parlays and things like that. But I think as the league expands, you're going to see more parlays on the favorites. That the team who starts 4-0, everyone will be on that team, no matter what the spread is, and all those kinds of things. So I think once people get a feel for it and go, okay, this team's good, this team's bad, that's when you'll start seeing the same parlays rolling through the ticker and whatnot. And that ultimately, that's what it is. I think the handle will actually go up. I think the ticket count will go up. It's just a matter of the public wants to see, like, they have no idea who any of these teams are.
Correct.
So I think that definitely will it'll grow as we go along here.
Is there a football hangover? Like, for me,
I was excited. I was happy.
You were? Okay,
oh yeah,
so I was the opposite.
I'm like, college basketball's off sound. We got XFL football with sound. Here we go. And then when I saw those numbers about I think it was the Dragons having 3.3 million viewers.
Yeah.
Duke, North Carolina having 2.7.
Right.
I'm like, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. Football still rules. Even the guys who play backup in the NFL are drawing more televisions than the best college basketball game.
Yep. I guess I could see that. I just know for me, I was like, oh man, I need a break. Like, and the level of football increases as, you know, the season comes to the culmination of the Super Bowl. So the games mean everything, every play, you know, and it reaches its crescendo with the Super Bowl.
Right.
And now you're like, not like spring training, but it felt like, oh,
just
really?
jumping right back in.
Yeah.
See, that was a big critique in the room, and I feel like the guys are right, but I think that for the opening season, I think it was the right call because they can immediately keep it going for anybody who's like, oh
Right.
man, I'm not gonna have football anymore. But now I actually think next year they should give it like a 2-3 week buffer, and then maybe work in some like
To hype it up.
yeah, hype it up, but maybe have like a draft or something like in between the Super Bowl and the start of the regular season, so people could be like, oh, who are they going to take? Like there could be like that aspect of it. So like, you know, like maybe, I don't know, I'm not sure exactly how you could do it. Maybe like you could steal players from the other teams or things like that. And so it's almost like a trade system sort of. And then, you know, I think they need to keep trying to innovate and create new things, because it'd be pretty sick. Like, you're the worst team in the league, and now I'm going to steal a starting quarterback from, like, the Dragons or something.
Okay.
Like, whoa, wait, what? We lost our quarterback. Like,
Right.
really shake things up a little bit, you know?
Oh, that would be interesting. I don't know. That's I mean, innovation will make it go.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Well, that's what they have to fall back on,
just-
because they
right.
don't have the talent, obviously. And like we were talking with Adam, like, you know, the rules can help hide a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that helps a lot.
Yep. All right. Let's move on from the XFL. The jury's still out for me. I don't know. I'm indifferent to it right now. We put lines up late. The limits are low, but we'll see how it goes. You know, that's just leave it with that. Let's move on to the UFC and the Jones-Reyes fight. I got to watch it. I wouldn't have bought it, but I was somewhere that had it, so I watched it. The fight before, by the way, the women's fight, that girl can fight.
Valentina Shevchenko.
Oh, man. I thought, wow, that is like
Yeah.
one of the best fighters I've ever seen.
After the show, we got to bring up that YouTube video that when she just massacred that girl.
Oh,
and I was
Priscilla
like,
Cachoeira.
I'm like, why are
Oh.
you not stopping this? Like,
Yeah.
oh, it was
I always
just-
say-
dude,
Mario Yamasaki wanted to see the first death inside the UFC that night.
dude,
It was bad?
like,
The significant strikes was 230-3 for Valentina Shevchenko.
And it wasn't stopped?
No,
it was eventually.
But she actually had to submit the girl, so it was a bad beat if you bet Shevchenko by TKO.
totally, yeah.
God.
Like, it should have been stopped like minutes before that. Just
Yikes.
because it was just not an what's the word I'm looking for? It should have never happened.
No intelligent defense. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, like it was it was such a mismatch
There you go. Okay.
that like it just should have been stopped a long time before that.
Wow.
Like
Yeah,
the girl
what
had
you-
no chance.
What you got to realize about Shevchenko, how much of a beast she is, that the only person that's beat her in the UFC is Amanda Nunes. And in the first fight that she had with Amanda Nunes, if that had been another round, she would have won the fight because Amanda Nunes gassed badly. She's kind of corrected her cardio a little bit now, but it's still a little suspect. And in the second fight, it was a real close split decision, and Valentina Shevchenko cost herself that fight by not pushing herself enough, not pushing the offense. Much like Dominic Reyes. Segue. Go ahead, Dave.
Excellent. So the Reyes-Jones fight, I'll say this just from someone who loves the fight game, been watching it for a long, long time. The topic I really want to get to, which we will here in a second, is how hard it is to score a fight. Reyes started out, I thought he clearly won the first round.
Agreed.
And we're in a fight. Like, it was evident right then that, all right, if Jones, half-assed his training or underestimated his opponent, we're in a fight. Let's go. And, I mean, I scored the fight, and I was at a table with some kids and some other parents and stuff, and I said it after watching that first round. Who won that round? And everybody said Reyes. Okay, well, now we'll talk about it after every round, and we'll watch it. After second round, it was like I don't know, 8 of us, 4-4. Jones, Reyes, Jones, Reyes, Jones, Reyes. You know?
Yeah.
So I gave it to Jones, but there was other people that said Reyes. Third round, Reyes. I scored. I said he won that. He won that round. But 4 and 5 were clear. Jones won.
Yeah.
Reyes either did kind of what you said, like backed up, just kind of was gassed. I don't know, got maybe not scared in the moment, but he was getting hit a lot more, and he knew, like you could tell, like he was thinking, man, if I go for this, I could get hurt or I could get hit. Like
I think he was really concerned with Jones taking him down.
That's
Because every time he got
down.
close to him, boom, he immediately went down. I was impressed he couldn't hold him down. That was the thing that surprised me a little bit.
Yeah, everything that I've seen on that fight, because I didn't watch it live and I still haven't been able to catch up on everything. I've seen a few clips here and there. But the fact that Jones tried to take him down and largely, like, got him but couldn't hold him, like you're saying.
Yeah.
You know, because, like, when he took Gustafsson down in the second fight, it was game over.
Yeah, game over, yeah.
But Reyes sounded like his defense was pretty good. What this sounds like to me is that Reyes' cardio has always been suspect. And he didn't want to push himself because he was worried about fading badly in the late rounds. And I would also guess that his team was saying, like, hey, you're up, so don't push it. You know, I won the first 3 rounds clearly. And when you do that, you screw yourself. You know, Brian Caraway, perfect example. He took a whole 3rd round off, and he ends up losing a split decision. I think that was to Mizugaki in Japan. But, like, I think with this kid Reyes, man, like, he's got to get his cardio fixed because he's faded a couple times now in fights, and those were in 3-rounders.
Does he get it? Does he get a rematch right away?
He shouldn't, in my opinion. But
No,
because, I mean, I think he lost in the sense that, you know, he gave the fight away. If he would have been busting his ass in the 5th round and then lost a close decision, then I'd say, yeah, he probably deserves a rematch. But he didn't win the fight. He wasn't the champion. I don't think he deserves a rematch right away.
Yeah, I'd say earn your way back. I mean, to me, Thiago Santos, that's the fight I'd rather see a rematch on that. But you're probably looking at the Blachowicz, Corey Anderson winner getting the next title shot.
What do you guys think of this? This is my idea for scoring a fight because I am fascinated to know what people are looking at. And for someone to score that fight 4 rounds to 1 for Jones, you weren't watching the fight. You had preconceived notions. There's no way he won 4 of those rounds. There is just no way, if you're watching the fight objectively, trying to judge it and score it.
But the general consensus you just said at your table, right, was after the 2nd round, it was split Jones-Reyes each way. So that just means if 1, 4, and 5 are definitive and 2 and 3 are your swing rounds and 2 and 3 are very close and you see it for Jones, then that's how you get 4-1.
He thought 3 was conclusive, which I don't technically agree with. But because if he said, like, I scored rounds 1, 2, and 3 for Reyes and I scored 4 and 5 for Jones, but I thought 2 was close, which is what you said was 4-4.
Yeah.
But I think the 3rd was a lot closer.
It was.
So
it was. That
okay,
was.
so then
I thought
so
it was
that's how it could have been
definitive,
4-1 Jones.
Because if you give him 2, 3, 4, 5.
Correct. Because Reyes
I
definitely
guess
won the first, and if I'm not mistaken, I didn't get to see the card, but I'm pretty sure every judge gave Reyes the first round, including the judge who was 4-1 Jones.
Okay.
So
You're correct in that.
Is
Because
that
I looked
right?
at the cards earlier.
So
Would it help the sport if
Open scoring.
you had it on the scoreboard up above? You don't have to know who did what. The 3 of us are scoring a fight. I hit 10-9 Jones. You hit 10-9 Reyes. You hit 10-9 Reyes. It goes up on the board. Everyone in the arena knows, including the guys in the corner, because I guarantee if Reyes would have known he was down in the 5th round, going into the 5th round, he would have fought differently.
that's great when it works that way. The issue is, what if it's 3-0 Reyes? And what's he going to do in the 4th and 5th rounds?
Then you get a lot of Jose Aldo fights early on when he came into the UFC and he would get up 3-0 and then coast.
Yep.
He's
You're going to get a lot of boring fights.
He's going to do that anyway. And I mean,
not every fighter does that though. Like,
well, no,
I
but
think if you know for sure, then you're gonna take the round off.
If you're down 3-0 and you know the only way you can go after it is knock the guy down or win around 10-8 or win by knockout, it's going to change that too. Like
you can make that argument, but you could also say that if you're down 4-0, who's to say you don't just fold up shop and just try and run away for 5 minutes? At least I didn't get finished. You can go that route.
Yeah.
I'm not. I've seen a lot of talk on this, and I know the Kansas Commission just said that they're going to have open scoring starting March 1st. The all-women's promotion Invicta is going to be the first one to run it. Go ahead and give it a shot, but everything I've heard is that open scoring just generally doesn't work.
I've seen it in boxing, and it sucks in boxing. It does not work.
I think the bigger issue is you have to get knowledgeable judges. Like, everybody's
Well,
focused.
that's what I mean. It would make it more accountable. Like, because at the end you would know this is how you scored it.
But we know that at the end, and no one's still ever held accountable.
Yeah, we get,
and
that's the big issue. That's where I want to go with this, is to say that we need accountability for the referees and for the judges. They screw up and nothing happens. Nothing happened to Mario Yamasaki when he let that girl almost get killed. You know, Dan Miragliotta screws up in a fight. Tells Stefan Struve, hey, you're winning. You're probably winning 2 rounds. He goes out, continues to fight Rothwell, gets knocked out. There's just no accountability for these guys from the commissions.
Yep.
There should be suspensions. There should be, you're off the card.
Well, they do sometimes in boxing. I know when I can't remember what judge it was. Someone did a terrible job, and then they ended up getting pushed down to the undercard. But eventually they find their way back up is the problem. And it's like sometimes it's just so horrible. But again, I think like judging is not easy, and it's very easy for all of us to be watching it on TV, scoring it when they may not see something that happens because the guy's back is.
Do they have a monitor?
It depends on the commission.
Yeah, I mean,
because there was a lot of talk on this particular card because there's a lot of focus on Jones Reyes, obviously because it's the headliner.
Mm-hmm.
But earlier in the night, Andre Ewell's fight. People were unhappy with the
Right.
scoring on that fight.
There was a bunch of them that were like split decisions or opposite decisions of what anyone watching the fight thought.
Rogan brought it up on air and was ripping a judge on air. He said he's not even watching the fight. He's looking down at the ground. It was unreal.
And the commission actually released a statement saying that they had monitors on the ground, which I don't really buy. Texas has been a horrible commission for years. Texas and Florida are two of the worst commissions in the country.
That's what everybody keeps saying, yeah.
But I mean, I just think to me, if the Ewell fight was as suspect as they're saying, and if a judge is not saying, if Joe Rogan has his eyes on somebody and he's saying that he's having a conversation with somebody and not paying attention to the fights, then that needs to be addressed by the commission. Hey, you're off this card. You know, you're getting what? $1,200 is the average fee for these commissions.
Idea.
I know in Nevada that's what it is. I don't know what Texas is.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But like, if that's the case, if you're not paying attention, and these are people's careers are made on these things. You know, like you have to hold these people accountable. And the way to do that to me is with punitive.
I was going to say, don't pound the table.
Trust me. First off, I know what I'm doing. If you notice, the hand came down definitively and then just touched it.
There was a little bump there. I felt it.
That's your guy's fear.
There it is.
I will say this, and I've been a big advocate of this for a long time. They have to ditch boxing scoring. We got to figure out something else because
you don't like the 10-9?
No, I don't think it works in MMA. I think sometimes, like, I don't know how many 3-round fights I watched where 2 rounds nothing happened, and 1 round the guy got the shit beat out of him and didn't get 10-8s, and nothing else happened. Then loses a 2-1 round.
I think that's an application, and that the judges that have to be more knowledgeable.
No,
they have to understand because it's like weighing takedowns, right?
Yeah.
If you get takedown and then a second later you're up, I don't weigh that heavily.
Agreed. And I think the other thing that never gets enough is when the guys stuff the takedown. Like if your defense game is awesome, like you make it so that,
11 takedowns.
Absolutely. They should get credit for that on scorecards as well, but they won't because that's just how it is. But my biggest thing is
does it have to be 10-9? Can't you give a 10-10
You can give
round?
a 10-8 and a 10-10, but just they don't do them often unless it's clearly like a dominant round. But my point is that when you have 2 rounds that didn't really nothing happened, like say 6 strikes to 4, and the other one was like
most
11
Lyoto
to
Machida
9.
fights,
and like that person's going to win the fight because they won the 2 rounds. But in the second, it was like 40-9, and it wasn't quite enough for a 10-8. I would much rather in a 3-round fight the judges say who won the fight. And I'd be like, that guy won the fight.
Judge it in total?
Kind of, because it's such a small measurement in 3 rounds. Like, where if you have 2 completely throwaway rounds, why not give it to the guy who, like, was whooping the dude in the second round? Like, I feel like that was way more impactful than anything else that happened.
What do you think about, I've seen this floated about going to the Pride rules of 1 10-minute round and then the 5s after.
It's worth, I don't know, it's worth talking about.
A 10-minute round?
Oh, yeah, they used to do it. It was great.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
It led to a lot. That's a long it led to a lot more finishes.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, of course it would. I mean, it would probably lead to some serious injuries too. I would think. No, like that's a long. I mean, like you can tell the difference between just boxing rounds and UFC rounds.
Sure,
Those 5
minutes is
5
huge.
minutes. Yeah, that's a long time.
Well, just think
a
about
10-minute round,
yeah.
for God's sakes. What the fuck? That would
Think
be
about any
incredible.
street fight, man. Like, go back to your
God.
Turkey Bowl story. Like, how long did
yeah.
that fight last? Like 90 seconds, and I bet you were gassed as hell.
Fuck, maybe 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I was fucking gassed as hell. Like,
But-
it's fucking hard.
But the last thing I want to say is that I would like to see a system where, you talked about putting the scorers up.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them put like statistics up, and somehow the statistics can help like score the round. So
Well, people
if,
are concerned about that swaying the fight, though. If the judge sees it one way and then all of a sudden he goes like, "Oh, the strike at disadvantage was this,"
well,
they
maybe
might change it.
I don't know. Maybe somehow the judges thing is we somehow like make it so the fighters know and no one else does or something. Like you have 5 takedowns and blah 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 blah, and then maybe there's like some type of a points like barometer. You know what I mean? Like a takedown's worth this much and this is worth this much, and at least they'll have an idea of like how the fight should be kind of scored. I don't know.
Well, to me, look, I don't know. I think the simple thing is
No more judges as well.
you say more judges.
More judges.
So you want like what, 15 judges?
No,
or-
not that many, but three's too short. I've always said boxing would have done way better decision wise if there were just 5. Like it just would. You'd have better decisions.
I would listen to that argument, but to me, I think until you get these guys that are more knowledgeable and actually apply the rules of scoring that we currently have, it doesn't matter how many you have. You get a 5, you get 7, you get 9. You just have more idiots on the board. So it's just you're going to continue to just get bad decisions at that point in time. Like to me, this guy Joe Solis, who's the one who's been under the most criticism, he was the one that got called out on the broadcast, came out and said after the card was over, was saying like, "Oh well, Reyes didn't come forward. Everything is coming forward," and that was his justification for winning the fight. He would have been better served keeping his mouth shut.
Right.
Because if you sit there and say,
Yep.
and I said this on Twitter at IamReynolds2305.
Yeah.
I said this that night. I said, by that justification, Diego Sanchez is the greatest fighter of all time. Just because somebody comes forward
doesn't mean
a damn thing.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
And you hear that in boxing. You've heard that in boxing for years. You can come forward and keep getting hit. You can keep coming forward and holding the guy. You're not doing anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter
And
all the time.
And if that's
It's
the
not an
justification of a guy who has a background refereeing MMA cards, has a
Right.
background teaching martial arts,
it's not working.
get somebody else.
Yeah, it's not working. Yep. All right. Speaking of getting someone else, let's move on here to, I guess, the NBA.
Yes.
It's All-Star break.
That was very Marv Albert of you.
Yes.
On the foul.
Man, I don't know what's going on with your Raptors.
Woo.
What the hell is
Smoke.
going on? It's a 15-game winning streak,
Yeah, man.
AB.
I'm super impressed. I can't believe like how good they've been. But
And they're still 6.5 back
the Bucks.
of the
I know.
Bucks.
The Bucks went out, man, the way they started the season and still are playing, but I mean, man, they started like on such a tear. Like I mean, we're not going to catch them, but I feel like we're getting to the point where we'll lock away the 2 seed, and that's
Yeah.
good enough. I mean, we avoid the Bucks till the final. Like we got a shot.
You get not a cupcake, but you get a nice first-round matchup. The reward for 1 and 2 in the East is much better
Oh yeah,
than the 3 and 4.
sure. You could go Boston, Philly,
So-
or
Yeah,
What
I
is
mean,
it,
the first-round
Indiana
matchup
and-
right now would be Miami and Philly, 4-5, Boston and the Pacers.
oh yeah, that's no
If-
bargain.
And the Raptors get to play either the Nets or the Magic. Maybe even the Wizards or the Bulls if they get in
Oh
there.
man,
I mean, that's what you want.
yeah,
You want an easy
Yeah,
first-round series.
for sure.
You know, probably a sweep. Game like last night, yes, for the listeners, making his way to his seat in the door, Motoi Pearson. He's going to grab some headsets here and get settled in. We just started the NBA discussion. Mo
Perfect
Pearson,
timing.
Yeah, it's
what's
great.
up, Mo?
I'm surviving. Yeah, I made it. I actually made it, man.
If you sneeze on that damn mic, you're gonna be a problem.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I think I got all that done. Like on the drive here, I
Good.
was kind of flying,
Sneezing attacks.
man. Yeah, man, it was a
Got it
dangerous
all out.
freeway drive
Um,
for sure.
We just finished the discussion on the Jones-Reyes fight.
Oh yeah,
Did you watch the fight?
yeah. I think we were discussing it.
We
during,
were, but the listeners don't know that.
That's correct.
Who won the fight?
Oh man, that's tough. You're kind of putting me on the spot.
How'd you score it?
I don't know, man. It seemed
He didn't score it.
I couldn't score it because I was sweating it out actually for Circa.
I'm searching the
Oh,
text
okay.
from Saturday night. I want to see if Mo put it in here.
Yeah, no, I didn't. But and if I did, don't say it on air. Yeah, we were sweating it out, and
You needed Jones?
Yeah, we needed Jones.
Okay.
So I mean, like, we didn't initially watch the first round. Like, I think I had to periscope it.
Okay.
So when I heard Jones got knocked down, I didn't know if it was like brutal or not. You know, he just kind of caught him off balance.
Yeah.
Nice body shot.
It's a good shot.
Yeah, solid. Yeah.
Okay, so you were sweating it for the house.
Yeah, correct.
All right,
And
okay.
you know, just like any other regular championship fight, the favorite that can get to, you know, where it seems like he's losing, he gets to the end, and you know, you
Gets the
get
fight,
those kind
yeah.
of bullshit type of decisions. Like, yeah, for the most part. So
Again, I don't know. You'll have to go back and listen to the show, but we were just talking about how hard it is to score a fight.
yeah,
And when you're watching a fight, it's really what you see and what your vantage point is, and like it's just a whole nother discussion. But we just moved on to the NBA. Reynolds found something. So
I don't like this.
I don't like this at all for you. Yeah, this could be bad.
Gotta be Jones.
Did I say that? Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah, there you go.
that was the only thing in my mind.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's
I was
no,
like,
we
man,
need Jones. That's
I
what
was
it
like,
is.
dude, like,
Right,
oh, man. As soon as it went to the cards, I think I took a deep breath and was like, I think
Right.
we should be fine.
right.
Yeah, but
Yeah, no, Reyes had a lot of backing, betting wise. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
people like the price, like everything else, and the favorite money never really showed, like it normally does.
Yeah,
You know, it's different when the fights are here in Vegas.
How did the card do handle wise?
it's okay.
yeah.
Okay, so nothing
Yeah,
major.
no, it
No.
wasn't. It wasn't like the big ones that we've discussed.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Real quick,
Yep.
I think Jones is on the back end, man. From what I've seen.
People are calling this his GSP Hendricks moment. So for people who don't know, George St. Pierre, one of the greatest of all time, went on an unbelievable tear. Nobody could touch him. Fights Johnny Hendricks, UFC 167, November of 2013, if I remember right. Gets beat to holy hell. Won the fight. It was controversial on the decision. I actually think they got the scoring right with George St. Pierre there. And then he vacated the belt and took off and didn't come back until he beat Bisping a few years ago for the middleweight title. And people are saying that this is John Jones' moment there. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think this might be a case of, you brought it up earlier, Dave, of underestimating the opponent, because the last time we saw him underestimate somebody, Alexander Gustafsson, in September of 2013, he had a very close fight, one of the best fights of all time, got pushed, was losing until the last minute of the fourth round, was losing on the cards for sure, hit a spinning back elbow on Gustafsson, changed the whole complexion of the fight. Gustafsson couldn't clear his cobwebs for the entire fifth round, loses rounds 4 and 5, ends up Jones by decision.
Oh.
So I think it's a very similar case here. I'll be a lot more certain that Jones is on the back end if I see him beat the holy hell by like Corey Anderson.
So someone on Twitter was like, John Jones against Anthony Smith. I underestimated my opponent a little bit. And then it was like John Jones against Thiago Santos. Underestimated my opponent a little bit. John Jones against Dominic Reyes. Underestimated my opponent a little bit. And then the guy goes, hey, John, your next opponent, it's going to be good.
I will say this about Jones, man. I don't believe a word the guy says. I don't think he's been genuine since the day he was born. He's very much an Alex Rodriguez. The guy sickens me when he talks.
Wow. There you go.
That's a pretty heavy take.
That's strong. That's
A-Rod is John Jones now. That's coming from us,
Right
too,
there.
so that's real.
J-Rod.
J-Rod. Oh, my God. That's good.
Well, so NBA, we're
Yeah.
just talking about the Eastern Conference in these Toronto Raptors, 15-game winning streak.
They're on a tear.
They cover every night,
Yeah.
too. But they're still 6.5 games behind the Bucks.
Which is, I mean,
Giannis takes the night off
Halfway
last
through.
night. Line comes down a point. Like, they still cover.
yeah. Kings were up at the half, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
did
the
not
old
matter.
NBA
Yeah,
trick
none
where
of
the
that.
dog is up
Oh,
at
it's
halftime, and
beautiful.
you know
Yeah.
the play is the favorite on the second half.
Yeah.
You just see it with the good teams now, and the good teams have separated themselves. The West, though, the Lakers still have the best record.
For now.
They've been struggling with the spread. They've been, I think they're like 5-7 in their last 12
They got no guts.
against the number.
They will when they win. But
Win what?
When
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Denver Clippers right behind them. That one seed is not even close to locked up.
I'm getting tired of Denver.
They won't go away.
I can't. I don't understand.
They
I mean,
won't
I know they're
go
good,
away.
but I mean, are they good?
And
Like,
then they're big dogs, like, and they win the game outright. But when they're laying a big number, they don't cover.
Yeah.
You can kind of feel that one, or see that one.
They seem soft.
Something
missing there.
7-game series. I can't trust that team.
Yeah, for sure.
Can't trust that team. How about the Clippers? You trust that team?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, yeah.
I like the Clippers. Clippers are good.
Big
Playoff
nods in
times.
agreement.
I
Playoff
agree.
time. That's all they're worried about. They don't care what seed they are or any of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, Clippers are for
Be
real.
locked in.
Wow. 22-5 at home. That is tied for second best record at home. Behind the Bucks are 25-3. What the fuck is that? Sixers though, 24-2.
It might be Giannis's year.
It is, right? It feels
man,
like it
Doesn't it
is.
feel like the Bucks might?
know.
No, I'm talking about like them winning it all. They might win it all.
Yeah.
They might.
Well, I'm
I
not
thought they were good last year.
No, they're incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're on an
They're another
absolute.
level.
Yeah, they're not even. They're like thinking out of their mind as far as playing. But the Sixers, I think they're still in it. I think a lot of people are kind of like laying off Philly. I don't know.
Chuck called them the
24-2 at
Cleveland
home.
Browns.
No, but they win.
They're 9-19 on the road, boys. They're 9-19, 24-2 at home. It's
Yeah.
I just heard today it's the biggest disparity in NBA history, home and away, in the last 50 years, between a team with a 50-game sample
Talking about
size
the
or
Heat,
something.
right?
No,
Philly.
the Sixers.
Sixers.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
9-19
Well,
on the
I was
road.
gonna think the Heat had
So
a
the
similar
Heat have a
record.
losing record, 13-15, but 9-19 on the road for the Sixers. I don't know, man.
That's pretty
I
absurd.
think-
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as the away record,
Yeah,
Jesus,
terrible.
It's pretty crazy.
The West is what do you think about the Rockets and what they're doing right now? Short
Love the
lineup.
small ball.
It's-
I think
it's-
that they're gonna be a tough out, man. I think now. I think that like D'Antoni and Daryl Morey, they see things before the league does. I'm telling you. And like
and they just don't give a shit. Like, we're doing this.
yeah, exactly.
and-
They're
and
like our
it's
tallest
just
guy's
different.
6'7", no problem. We'll
good.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Because all we need to do is outscore everybody.
Right.
And like, yeah, I'm telling you, who did they beat the other day? And I was like, man,
L.A.
was that who it was?
Probably Lakers.
Yeah, Lakers.
Yeah,
they
those are
crushed
the
them on
first
road,
game
right?
that everyone laughed
Yeah.
at.
Yeah.
Tucker started.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I
And then
don't
they
know.
went and got destroyed by the Suns.
Yeah, of course,
Right. Yeah.
Which
Well,
is like,
you
that's
know.
going to have these
It's
ups and downs.
real Rockets fashion, I guess.
Oh, for sure.
Keep
Yeah,
losing
yeah.
to a bunch of teams.
Beat
They're
the
not supposed to
team,
be
beat
losing
the team
to.
that's number one in the West, and then lose to upstart Suns team.
Oh, fucking brutal.
OKC, they making the playoffs or no?
I think we agreed last week they weren't.
Yeah,
for the
they're
most
starting.
part.
I mean, they're coming backwards a little bit. They're in the 6th spot. Dallas Mavericks are in the 7th spot. They're
Yeah, I know.
32-22.
They're missing Luka right now.
And it's really starting to catch up to them.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's. I mean,
I don't know. Can Dallas miss the playoffs after this start? I mean, they're 32-22. They're in the 7th spot right now, just a half game behind the Thunder for the 6th seed.
I doubt it. I think with
Yeah.
Luka's back, it's just a
It'll
different
just-
team. Yeah.
right. They win. They're probably going to win high 40s. That should be enough.
Yeah.
The team in the West, it's just it's fun. Memphis and Portland are going to battle for that 8th spot,
Oh man.
and I would love to see both of them get in, because, I mean, you want to talk about the difference in the East, the 1 and 2 spots.
Whoever's playing in the one, whoever they get out of that,
Is-
whether it's Blazers or Grizzlies,
Yeah,
that's gonna be a
probably,
It's
yeah.
going to be a
series, dude.
series, right? And the Bucks get a bunny, like they
Telling
get a
you.
layup.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're looking at this in the West, going, "Shit, this is not going to be an easy road. That 1 seed is not going to be any bargain."
Yeah.
wait, who's 6 in the West? Houston is
Right now,
Yeah, no one,
OKC.
no one in the West gets an easy first round.
Yeah,
matchup.
I was.
For the
I'm
record.
thinking in my mind,
But I'm
like,
just saying the amount of effort it's going to take just to get the 8 seed, like they're going to be almost playing like a 4 seed.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
And especially if it's Lillard,
Oh,
like
man.
my God,
on a mission.
Yeah.
dude.
It's not like Portland's been in the playoffs the last few years or anything, but yeah, it's a real tough team to play against.
Listen, if he's out there dropping 50 on teams in the playoffs, I mean, the Blazers are all of a sudden like contender.
Yeah, I don't think he's cooling off at any point anyway.
Dude,
No.
Guy's on fire, man.
unreal.
25 and 29. They're on the outside looking in right now.
You think there's any value in any futures at the moment?
Well, that's what I was kind of gonna get to here to wrap it up. I mean, the Lakers and the Clippers have been so low for so long, and they look like that's the Western Conference Final. But man, I like what I think Portland can be live to win a series. So
Mhm.
to get the price on them now is 100-1.
Yeah.
I mean, it's worth a
I
little
thought about it the other
something,
day
like,
when I saw it was 150 to 1.
Just get in.
Like, I don't want to do this.
I know.
Well, what about like Lillard to win MVP? I mean, is that just kind of like shadows right now, just because of how he's playing?
We had 20 to 1 on him, and we took a big bet on him. I forget what number, but yeah,
we took some shots at Lillard too, or on Lillard to win the MVP, which is obviously fine with us. But I mean, if he continues to play the way he does, I mean, they're going to be giving him a lot of.
He can't beat Giannis though. How can he?
Well, I mean, that's what I
Giannis?
mean. I mean, like, but it's definitely worth a shot. I mean, at the value of kind of the peak of the price.
If Giannis does a little load management, and Dame keeps doing what he's doing, and they make the playoffs,
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not worth 20
one of
to
those.
1 to me.
No,
I don't think it's good enough
it's not
price.
enough. Right. All right. That's it for the NBA. Let's welcome in HB. He's in the house. What's up, Howard?
Good morning, fellas. How are you?
That is
Doing all
Howard
right.
Barish.
I barely just got here, like 10 minutes ago.
I don't feel so bad.
At Gaming Today News on Twitter. Just
Hi,
in
Reynolds.
time for the college basketball talk, I have here, let's do 5 good minutes on college
What are you
basketball.
doing? You doing something?
Yeah.
He's
leaning
pulling.
back.
Alan's pulling his phone out.
AB just checked out, folks.
What is going on? San Diego State is not going to lose, Mo.
Yeah,
Are they going to lose?
When did we bring that up? I think it was when we did it with
I don't
Derek.
know. They were 15-0
Yeah,
when we said they weren't going to lose
and
again.
they're on a roll.
And they still haven't lost.
So for someone that hasn't paid much attention other than their record, and you go to UNLV games and you have your eye on the conference a bit,
Yeah,
are they really good and deep?
yeah. I think their guard play, which is like with Malachi and the wings that they have there, it's hard to kind of like hold them in because they're so good at scoring. They're good at getting to the cup. I mean, it's just really hard to defend these guys when they can make threes, when they can kind of battle out of spurts from another team. Like,
How about how they play defense?
it's pretty solid. I
San
mean,
Diego State plays great team defense. It's really hard to go on runs against them.
well, it sucks because even when you can contend and go on any type of run to make it a game, once San Diego State hits a couple threes or gets to the free throw line and gets back up, like there's almost zero chance that you can come back and
Right.
So I mean, I just watched the Air Force game on Saturday. Air Force, tough place to play. It's one of the better home courts in college basketball. But they were within 7 to 4 points until about 4 or 5 minutes left in the second half. My God, you look back up at the screen 2 minutes later, and San Diego State was up 18. This is not a regular team.
right.
So
Like, it's a very interesting basketball team.
would it be ignorant if somebody just dismissed the conference and said, oh, the rest of the conference sucks, and that's glamorizing their record?
I think that's that's actually a good point. A
Well,
lot
that's
of these,
what Gonzaga faces all the time.
right, but
It's the same discussion, but I don't know if it's as fair to say in the Mountain West.
right. I mean, no, there's a lot of competitive teams, not just Utah State, who's probably the second bid team if they can, get off the bubble, but Colorado State, Boise State, Air Force. I mean, these teams are competitive.
There's decency there?
Yeah, they're not bad basketball teams. So, like, when you see San Diego State being a team, they play New Mexico tonight, actually. I think they're a 15.5-point favorite. But, yeah, they went into the pit, which is obviously a big deal, and beat them by, like, 25 points. I mean, just ran them off the court. So, the rest of these teams are very competitive, but, man, it seems like San Diego State is, like, the gold standard in college basketball right now.
They are a 15.5-point favorite, pretty much market number
Yeah,
across the board tonight against New Mexico, who is 17-8.
right. Not bad. It's not a bad team.
Not bad, but not a game that San Diego State is losing.
Oh, man.
No.
Yeah,
No.
I don't. It can't be.
I don't know.
I put my faith in the Fly guys, and they just got
right, and it happens against these teams. Another team that I have, to discuss real quick, Dayton is 21-2. They're the 6th team in the country, pretty much in both polls. I mean, like, their conference. That's the thing. Like, this year, the teams at the top are still winning a lot of games. They're just that much better than every team in their conference.
Yeah.
San Diego State, Gonzaga, and Dayton
Yeah.
in the A-10.
A-10's got VCU and Rhode Island. Those teams will come out. They'll play in the
They
tournament.
should, they should.
Yeah.
So they should have 3 bids,
Yeah.
most likely. But Dayton's another team. Can they be a 1 seed?
I think we discussed this.
We did,
Yeah.
but like they just keep winning. I don't know.
I mean, that Colorado overtime loss was so brutal for them. But I think their only other loss was the Kansas, right? In the Maui Invitational.
Dayton.
Yeah, Dayton lost to Kansas.
yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like San Diego State running the table would be fine, but I just Dayton seems like a 2 seed at this point. If San Diego State runs the table, then the rest would be like what Baylor, the winner of the ACC,
Zags, Kansas, and then I don't know San Diego State or Louisville or Duke.
Yeah,
if
Duke.
they get
Yeah,
in.
I would
mean,
think it'd be like Duke, Kansas, Zags, and San Diego State seems like, or Baylor, obviously. I mean, the number 1 team in the country right now. But
they don't lose either.
Yeah, they can't
I mean,
lose. It's impossible.
They
can't lose
every night.
Did you see what happened last night?
Yeah.
Oh my god! I was like, what is
Another
going
bad
on, dude?
beat for anyone trying to fade Baylor, which has just been burning money.
Oh, it's bad.
You just know like they're laying points on the road. I'll take him. I'll go against them.
Yeah,
Just doesn't
100%.
work.
Yeah.
Oh man. And then the Pac-12. I don't know what to make of it.
HB's in.
No, honestly, I mean, really, what do you make of the Pac-12 basketball?
There are a lot of good ball players in the conference, but everybody is beating everybody else.
Yeah.
And it just is lunacy. I mean, you get Arizona State last Thursday night. Okay, it's my alma mater, but I'm just using a reference here. They beat the crud out of UCLA by 20.
Yeah.
Okay. On Saturday, UCLA goes and beats the crud out of Arizona, who's ranked,
right,
Yeah.
and has a lot of pedigree.
Yeah.
They smoked them bad.
And this has happened week in and week out with this conference.
Yeah.
Colorado seems like the steady. I think they and Oregon have the best coaches.
Yeah.
This is a down year for Oregon. Pritchard doesn't have a lot of support around him.
I don't like Pritchard. Something about that guy's man.
Yeah.
I don't like him. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
he reminds me of Aaron Kraft.
Off air, I could.
Yeah,
give
we're
you-
gonna. Yeah, we'll talk.
All right.
But he's got a very high basketball IQ.
Yeah, he's
a real heady player.
It's Aaron Kraft again, and I hated him too. Like,
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
It's not personal. It's just business.
Well-
But I don't know. The Pac-12 is just betting this stuff for you guys that listen to the show and you're religiously looking at numbers and betting. I give kudos to you. It's so fucking hard.
No, we joke
is
about
just-
the ACC being like brutal, but the Pac-12 is just unbearable.
It's just hard. And like
It
Thursday
sucks,
nights,
man.
and that's
Can
the conference.
Can I just give you? I was talking to my son this morning about this. In the Pac-12 standings, 9 of the 12 teams are separated by 2 games.
I
Yeah.
think Bruins
So
can
if
do
you
something.
sweep over a weekend or you get swept over a weekend, you can move from 3rd to 8th
7,
and
8
vice
spots.
versa.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think the only team that's out is Cal. Everyone else is
You're
live.
right, yeah.
All the teams are live except Cal, which is I think it's safe to
Pac-12
say.
tournament will be here in a few weeks.
Oh man,
It
we're
will,
there.
and I guess obviously being an ASU fan, and they are
I'm going to
4th
cause
seed,
havoc.
They're 4th seed right now. The key for any of them should be to try to get a bye, so you don't have to play
Right.
4 days, or
Yep.
try not to play that Wednesday.
Yep. The bye will be huge in these tournaments.
Is Utah doing? I don't even. Just go on to the next. We've already done enough. Here.
We've done enough. We went almost 6 minutes on
Yeah, that's-
college basketball. That'll wrap that up. That's 6 minutes more than we did for almost 6 months.
Yeah,
College basketball.
that's good.
So
I
that was
like
good.
it.
Yeah,
But no, the time
it's
is adding
slowly
up.
weaving its way
Time
into
is
the
adding
show.
Kind of
up.
elitist.
Yeah,
I like it.
Slowly weaving its way into the show.
We talked about the A10. That was good enough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Last random shots here. Well, I want to do take a minute because my take a minute will lead to the last discussion before we get out of here for the show.
Okay.
Would you like to go first this week?
I actually don't have
anything?
anything.
Okay. There you go. That's Mo's
Just
take
happy
a
to
minute.
make it here and not
And make
do it
it-
over
that's-
the phone.
That's perfect. That's awesome.
Yeah, 0.
I got nothing. That's Mo's. AB, you got anything that you want to rant about for 30 seconds, 1 second, a minute, anything?
No.
No, nothing. All right, that's take a minute
Oh,
segment is
Ofer.
going fucking great right
Ofer.
now. HB did not bring a prepared script.
I'm in lockstep with the other guys. I really haven't thought about it. But I could bring up one thing that's on my mind.
All right,
Because we've got to keep the show
ready, Go.
a little interesting. William Hill and CBS Sports did an agreement yesterday. And,
Huge deal.
And I find all of these alliances fascinating. To me, it's all about the database. Penn buying into Barstool, William Hill aligning with CBS Sports. We know how many people belong to the CBS Sports sports line for the tournaments and what have you. Yahoo and MGM. I just find this whole thing very fascinating as far as the alignment goes and the co-branding, co-packing, whatever you want to call it. Who knows how this will all shake out? We're just a little media company here at Gaming Today, and we're trying to navigate through the waters as well. I think it's fascinating. And I love, as operators, what you guys think of it all.
It is very interesting. I don't know where it's going to go either, but obviously they're getting involved with, getting the lists and getting the customers and then just making that. I don't know if the transfer is that easy. Like, I don't think just because you have 50 million users means you're going to automatically get those customers. Even if you get 1%, which is it'd be great conversion rate, it's still a matter of, do that many people, are they interested in wagering? Like,
and are they brand
XFL,
loyal?
I mean, well, no one's brand loyal. That's for sure. They're getting the best number. There's no brand loyalty as far as, betting and stuff like that. You get them all, but if you have 5.5 and you have 6 and you have 6 and you have 6.5 or whatever, you're going to lay the 5.5 if you can.
If you're educated.
Yes.
Right.
But that's the thing. I mean, the thing is that stuff will eventually start evening itself out. There's enough people that talk in the books that people start realizing that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
But they're betting on the uneducated that just has a mobile phone, I think.
But I mean,
and not to denigrate. I mean, this is business.
Yeah.
It's about business and size of database.
You start losing. I mean, you got to start looking things up and, listening to cash considerations so that you know things like this.
Peep game.
Or look at Weekend for Winners in Gaming Today.
Yeah.
Also peep game.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just going to take a minute here real quick, and then I hopefully will have a question for you guys. 3, 2, 1. MLB came out yesterday with a possible expansion of the playoffs.
Yawn.
Yep. Call it old guy radio. Call it whatever. Each league will get 3 division winners, and now there'll be 4 wild cards. The best team would get a bye. The other ones will pick their opponents. I want to play you. And then the next guy gets to go, I want to play you. And then the last matchup is determined because you didn't get picked. You're the last kid picked on the team. I'm all for innovation. I'm all for changing it up in more meaningful baseball games because everyone knows that goddamn baseball season is way too fucking long.
Yep.
But if you're going to do that, you got to shorten the season. I don't want to see guys playing in blankets, hats, gloves, because it's fucking freezing if Colorado makes it to the World Series and it's the end of October.
Didn't they say they were going to do that, though?
They have to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're talking about changing it. That's fine. But that was my minute rant. I just wanted to see what you guys thought as far as shortening the season. I mean, right? You got
Agree. Whack 25 games.
40 games. 40.
Gone. 40. Get rid of it.
Wow. Do you think they would do that? All the money that's at stake with the
More
games
playoff
and all that
games.
shit?
More playoff games equal more revenue.
Well, that's ultimately the question. Isn't more meaningful games better than just more games in general with any sport?
That's my thing.
I mean, like the playoffs in hockey are the best must-viewing, watching sporting event there is. As far as playoffs, it's great. It's such a disparity. In the NBA playoffs now, awesome. I mean, and it always has been.
Once they get through the first round.
Once they get through the first round.
Yeah, but there's going to be some good first round games.
There is.
But,
we just talked about
Well,
that.
MLB
college
playoffs
basketball.
are good. And I think it's actually a better deal because you wait so long for it. It makes it more of a spectacle. Can you think about it?
Baseball?
Like you wait so long for it. Not but like I can't. I don't watch all of them. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous.
It's hard to watch all of them. But even college basketball, to just kind of summarize the whole day and tie up the show, there's a lot of college basketball games between October and the tournament. You don't miss the tournament games. Even the conference tournament games for the conferences you're interested, you got to watch. It's must-see. Those are more meaningful games. Nobody gives a shit tonight about, San Diego State and New Mexico. Unless you got a bet taking or laying 15
One of the
and a
things
half.
I'd like to see in college basketball is if they did some type of a round robin or pool play conference tournament where it lasts 2 months. And then that's how you get to those berths and stuff because that's the stuff that people want to watch, the stuff that's meaningful.
Right.
Game 7 in November, who cares? And the same with the NBA. I'm intrigued that they want to do some extra things with that league now too. To try to make mid-season not as boring and stuff.
Well, they better shorten the season. If they're going to do this,
they have to.
They have to because, if you talk about marginalizing, Detroit against Baltimore, right.
Yeah, nice.
Dream match.
Unreal.
On September,
unreal.
On September 10th, It's got to be less.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it. Like, go back to when we started doing the show. It was August. We couldn't believe that baseball was still going on. And we started football talk, at the end of August, and baseball was done until I had to force it into the show for the playoffs. Like, nobody wants to talk about it. And, we're a little bit older than these guys. I mean, I love baseball, but I got to admit, I don't give a shit by September.
It's
because
wearing you
football
down.
overtakes.
So let me do some old
It's
guy
just-
talk, and even into the early 80s. Do you remember you had to win the division? You could have 100 wins and not make the postseason.
playoffs. Yeah.
I had it with the Orioles when I was growing up.
Yeah. Had it
was
with the Pirates, too.
Orioles, Red Sox, Yankees, Brewers. You had a great division, and there were plenty of teams that won 85, 90, 95 games that went home.
Yeah. But the games were still meaningful, like in September, like those teams that were closer.
Right there, right.
The wild card is added to that. It's great. There's more meaningful games, but there's just so many, like, punt teams in all those games. Those guys are playing for jobs and everything else. It's incredible. I don't know. I just think anything to get more meaningful stuff. I mean, you guys see it with the fights. Like, the meaningful fights are electric. You can't wait to watch them. The other fights suck. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
So it's
Unless
just,
you have action.
you got
But-
action is the
Yeah, that's it.
differentiator.
That's it.
There's
Yeah.
no doubt.
But it's
beauty
been
of
like
it.
that from the beginning of time. I think we've just come to emphasize the more important games, and people's attention spans have shrunk.
People's attention spans have
Technology.
gone. Yeah,
But that's
it's gone.
exactly why baseball's got to fix it. This is in an era now where you can sit through 162 regular season games. Like, no one cares. And you're going to lose more and more people every year. And as these young kids are growing up, I think my kid cares, like, how the Diamondbacks are doing in April. He'll be like, hey, did they make the playoffs?
Right.
And then he's like, okay, now I'll watch
Now
it.
I'll watch,
yeah.
He's
And
remember-
never
Yeah.
going to watch a game.
Remember when kids would bring
ever.
the book and keep the official score at the stadium and mark it
Still
down?
do it with mine when we go. I mean, and that's just, because we're around.
Thing you've ever said on
No. It forces them to watch the game, and then I ask them what this guy do last time up, and they look and they get it. I mean, the teenagers don't give a shit anymore. That's how. But we started doing it that way just to get them to pay attention to the game. So yes, it is the oldest thing I've ever said on the show. It is.
Oh,
Thanks.
man. That was horrible,
That's
Reynolds.
fine. No, he's right.
No,
What the
man,
fuck?
just-
It is. But
Not his Pee Wee hockey.
That's old guy radio right there. That's it. All right, let's wrap this thing up. So anyone listening, working out, driving, commuting,
Did we talk about the XFL? Did I miss that?
we did. Yeah.
Right off the show.
Did you have a take on that before we get out of here?
I like it. I'm going to continue to watch it for the rest of my life.
You are?
Yeah, I'm going to go down with the ship. I like, man, everything I've seen, like,
What are you going to do after you're 35?
I don't know. I mean, even if I make it there, but no, it was great. I mean, obviously there were more theatrics with them, with the reporters with McAfee and Rossini on the sidelines and that type of deal. But it seemed like the play was pretty good. It was competitive. There was a lot of pretty decent plays where we forgot that it's actual football. Like, it's not.
Are
Doesn't
you
look
confident enough to wager on it?
Yeah, I think so. I'm maybe not at this point, but I will be able to figure out how I look at teams and stuff. The AAF was an absolute crapshoot. I mean, especially like later on, but I think you'll be able to figure out these teams a little bit more. I mean, I just like how it was competitive.
Early on, could you say it's a quarterback league?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
That
without
factors in.
question. Also, Aaron Murray was not good. My man was. Did you guys talk about that before I got here?
I think I brought up
it
that
up.
he's bad.
Yeah.
I think, or it might have been.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Obviously, I liked them too, and you're like, why does everyone like this team? They scored 3 points.
Happened in my own room. I said I don't get it.
Which was great. I don't know how I didn't text you.
I
I
put the
didn't.
backup in, and I'm like, wow, they're in big trouble.
Dude, I
'cause
woke
they don't
up.
have a backup.
I woke up.
either.
It was like 23-3. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, this is horrible.
You,
Like,
didn't-
so-
you missed the whole game. It was final 23-3.
Oh yeah, that was it. That's all. That's all I got. Yeah.
over.
I got to. But
it's done.
which I think I was probably happy about not watching it. But it's a great league. It's something that I'll probably be watching for the rest of the season.
Save that take. It's a great league. It's competitive, all that. So in 2 or 3 weeks, if they fold, we could just go. Remember when Motoi said that?
Make sure you cue them up, cue that up.
Lock it
So when I give you some bullshit, you can hit me with that.
All right,
Mark the time.
Before we get out here, I just want to mention that we talk about the Gaming Today digital subscription, yet we should also mention how it all got started. The Vintage Gaming Today print edition can be found in virtually every sportsbook in Nevada, as well as sportsbooks and casinos in 9 other states now. You get award-winning content analysis, stats, selections, gaming industry news, casino news, and more. From Oregon to Pennsylvania, it's Gaming Today in vintage print form. If your favorite book doesn't carry it, just ask management to contact support@gamingtoday.com. The shit keeps expanding. There's more states coming on board all the time. Find the show, listen to the show, rate the show, review the show, and get in contact with Gaming Today and get the paper in your casinos because it's a great resource. There's interesting articles every week. Carp does a great job putting it all together. Well worth your time to do that. Let's get out of here, boys. You didn't have anything with Take a Minute. You got anything on the way out?
No.
Nothing.
I think the XFL take will take care of itself.
Yes, you're
Yeah.
good with that.
I think I'm good there.
Anything for you on the way out, HB?
The March to March. That's what we're focused on.
Oh, man,
March
I
to
can't
March.
wait.
Never heard that, but we might have to coin it right there. Heard first
I like
on
it.
GT's cash consideration.
That's the one.
That's going to do it, fellas. We are out of here February 11th. Happy Valentine's Day for those of you who give a shit about that. I don't think there's anyone at this table that does.
Love isn't real.
It is. Start slapping him across the face.
21 years married. It's just a formality.
It's another day.
It's good.
So for Alan Berg at Percent Berg, Motoi Pearson at Heed These Takes, Reynolds, the best producer. I am Reynolds 2305.
It's our guy.
Howard Barish, managing editor of Gaming Today at Gaming Today News.
Weekend for winners.
And for myself, Dave Sharapan at Sportsbook Consigliere, Sports BK Consig. We